The Chicago Cubs, after years of searching high and wide for a new leadoff hitter, might have just found one. No, it's not Anthony Rizzo, not Kyle Schwarber, who's hitting about 210. It's Nico Hoerner. Nico Hoerner's been hitting leadoff so far during spring training. David Ross says, quote, when I look at Nico, it's about setting a tone for our group to start a game. He's as ready to go as anybody I've been around. Something about the way he plays sets a great tone for our team. I have been critical of David Ross. I don't even think he deserved to be the Cubs manager. He got the job because he won the World Series and he's everybody's friend. But in reality, he's right. Couldn't be more right about this situation. Nico Hoerner is a quality player. I've always liked Nico Hoerner. I've always been high on Nico Hoerner. Not everybody else has because they want more power or more this or that out of him. I will take a 300 batting average every single year, no questions asked. I don't care if your OPS plus is an 80 or 94 or it's not high enough. If you are hitting 300, you are my best friend. You know, everybody likes to crap on players like, or sabermetric people, like to crap on players like Juan Pierre, Garrett Anderson. Those guys were hitting 300 every single year. You knew it was going to happen. And yet, their sabermetrics aren't good enough. They don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. They don't deserve any consideration. BS. They were quality players. Just because you don't hit 50 home runs a season doesn't mean you're a bad baseball player. Everybody has a role to play, and David Ross is rightfully showing what role Nico Hoerner has with this team. He is a leadoff man, true and true. And ever since Dexter Fowler left, it's been a consistent search as to who's going to lead off for the Cubs, who's it going to be, and they tested other people. They tested Rizzo, kind of worked, but not really. Schwarber, definitely not. Kyle Schwarber is the furthest thing from a leadoff man. Nico Hoerner, yes, 100%. Hits 300 every year, always finds a way to get on base, makes contact literally all the time. That's why his OPS is so low, because he doesn't walk enough. Nico Hoerner is just a solid baseball player. He is the future for the Cubs up the middle. Too. Now you got Dansby Swanson and Nico Hoerner at second base and shortstop. That is an outstanding combination up the middle. Defensively, for sure, and even a little bit offensively. Nico, though, I would argue, is a better offensive player than Dansby Swanson. They still haven't paid him yet. They're still working out a potential contract extension for Nico Hoerner. I would pay him now. You pay Dansby Swanson $177 million, did $250. Come on now. Nico Hoerner's hitting 300, playing Gold Glove caliber defense, and now could be your leadoff man. He deserves a legitimate payday. That's somebody who actually deserves it and who is worth every penny for what he ends up earning. By far. But I just smiled at this report when I saw it. I was so happy that it came out because this is much deserved praise from his colleagues and his peers for Nico. I mean, last year, my gosh, 281, 10 home runs. See, an OPS plus of only 107. Oh, Nico Hoerner sucks. No, Nico Hoerner had 55 RBIs, 20 stolen bases, 10 homers. I mean, he was great last year. And 281 to me is amazing for somebody like him in his situation. Played very good defensively. And for sabermetric friends, he had a 4.4 WAR. So even though his OPS plus wasn't high enough, how do you explain the 4.4 WAR then? He was the most valuable player the Cubs had last year. Not even kidding, based on WAR. According to WAR, he was the best player the Cubs had. Him and Ian Happ tied for first. Even above Wilson Contreras in WAR. Nico Hoerner is going to be 26 years old and has the whole world ahead of him. I don't know if he's going to be a Hall of Fame player. I don't see that happening, but he could certainly be a stalwart for the Cubs for the next 10 to 15 years if he plays at this level. Where's he going to go? If he continues to perform and hit 270, 280, 290, maybe even higher, plays good defense at 10 to 15 home runs a year, steals 20 bags, I'm so happy. That's amazing. There's nothing more you could ask of from Nico Hoerner in his role, in his situation. Now he's going to be the leadoff man. Go get him, man. You stole 20 bags last year. You know how to get on base. You know how to make contact with the baseball, not just walk, but actually swing the bat. Nico Hoerner is an old man's best friend when it comes to baseball. If he was playing in the 80s or the 90s before all this sabermetric crap, He would be revered. And he still is now, even with all this sabermetric stuff. I'm a huge fan of Nico Hoerner. I think he has so much to offer moving forward for the Cubs. And I just appreciate the fact that he's getting the recognition that he deserves. He's always had recognition because he's been a top prospect, but it's nice to see him perform and get real recognition from his peers, too. Hey, you know what? You're going to be the leadoff guy. Congratulations. That's a huge honor. Cubs have been looking to fill that spot since Dexter Fowler, and the fact that Anthony Rizzo was tried out, Kyle Schwarber was tried out, Rafael Ortega, who's a journeyman, was tried out. Goes to show you there's some respect there. Talk about respect with Jose Abreu. How about respect for Nico Hoerner? He's receiving it, and he earned it, though, too. Last year was a great season. Needs to build off that last year. If he could do last year 10 times in a row, could be a Hall of Famer. Not kidding. Based on numbers, based on sabermetrics, he could be a Hall of Famer if he does that for 10 years. So here's the opportunity to start building that. Here's the opportunity to run with what you've been given from David Ross. I think it's an outstanding situation. I think it's well-deserved for Nico Hoerner. And I'm looking forward to seeing him this year with the Cubs do what he did last year and hopefully more.